Hello everyone, this is Weicheng Zhu&Yiling Shen. Today we are glad to present our final project for NYU Shanghai Machine Learning Spring 2018, Detection of Different Failures at Scania Trucks. Here are the contents we will cover in this video. First part, we will introduce our dataset, and second, we will introduce the algorithm we use for this project. The last part is the result we obtained from different models. First, we are going to introduce our dataset. Our dataset is APS failure at Scania trucks dataset, scraped from UCI Machine Learning Repository. It contains 60,000 training data and 170 features, which represents the data collected from malfunctioning trucks. It contains two classes. Positive class consists of component failures for a specific component of the APS system. The negative class consists of trucks with failures for components not related to the APS. Below is a fraction of the data. The original data we obtained is quite imbalanced. The negative data is 50 times more than positive data and contains many missing values. Therefore, we will start with data pre-processing first to make our dataset useful for training. Here are the steps we take: data cleaning, normalization, oversampling, and undersampling. First, we need to clean our data before any further process. Python provides a useful package called pandas, so we can clean our data easily. First, we load the CSV file and use the replace function in pandas to replace null value with not a number, now in NumPy, and replace positive by 1, negative by 0. Second, as we have columns full of missing values, we will discard columns with more than 10,000 missing values, as the data they contain won't be useful. After the process, we have 145 features remaining, which means 25 features were discarded. Third, we need to replace the remaining missing value with the mean value of each column. In Panda, there is a useful function called failNow, which helps us reach this goal.
So after we deal with the missing data problems with pandas and delete all the missing columns, we also need to normalize the data as we did in our homeworks, because it can reduce the variance of the data set. And with the lower variance, it is easy to classify two classes because it reduces the possibility of existence in the outliers. And here we have another major problem in our dataset. We have two classes, the positive class and the negative class, and they are extremely imbalanced. Only 1% minority is in the positive class, and this will lead to a problem of overfitting in our training model. So we have to use the concept of resampling in the machine learning to deal with this problem. There are two types of resampling. The first type is the oversampling. We can use the oversampling to add the number of samples in the minority class. And the second type is the undersampling, where we can use the undersampling to reduce the numbers of samples in both classes to rebalance them. In this project, we use two methods of resampling. The first algorithm is the SMOT of the oversampling, and another is the atomic links for the undersampling. First, the SMOT is also called the synthetic minority oversampling techniques, which we use the algorithm of k nearest neighborhood, and for each point we find the k nearest neighborhood for it, and based on the neighborhood we can randomly choose numbers and compute the differences to simulate the synthetic samples, which can increases the numbers of samples in the minority class. And here is the detail how we can simulate the synthetic points based on the case neighborhood. So here we basically first choose one of the original point's case neighbor. If it is the original point, then we choose this point, and it is one of its kn. So we then subtract them and get the difference, which is this vector. And by random choosing number between 0 to 1, we multiply the random gap by the difference, which is this vector, and we add it on to the original sample. So it basically do the weight between the original sample and it is one of its case neighbor. By doing the simulation repeatedly, we can add more and more data samples to the minority class and make the negative and positive class more balanced. So here is our visualization of our dataset on two-dimensional space. We use PCA to plot it on the surface to basically see the trends of the dataset. So here is the original set where we can see very few positive points in this graph. And after we do the oversampling, we can see there are clearly two classes. One is the blue class here, and another is the orange class. So as we have seen in these graphs, the oversampling can absolutely help the machine learning model to classify two classes based on the more balanced data set. So here's another algorithm of resampling, which is the undersampling called the atomic links. So this algorithm basically choose two near data samples from different classes. One is the positive and another is the negative, and just eliminate them both. So the data sample can be more balanced here.
In the second part, we will talk about the algorithm we use. Support vector machine is a commonly used method for classification. The main idea of this model is to find the separator with the largest margin. There are two types of support vector machine, hard margin SVM and soft margin SVM. A hard margin support vector machine is mostly used on separable data. It uses optimization to find solution with largest margin. However, most of the time the data won't be non-separable. In this case, we perform a soft margin support vector machine which seek large margin separator while allowing some test error while taking penalty for those errors during the optimization. And last, we can perform kernel tricks to make large non-linear feature spaces computationally efficient. The next model we use is decision tree training. Decision tree learning is a new method we haven't covered in class. It uses a decision tree as a predictive model to go from observation about an item to conclusions about the item's target value. In these tree structures, leaves represent class labels and branches represent conjunctions of features that lead to those class labels. The following graph is a representation of decision tree model that uses Titanic data for predicting whether a passenger will survive or not. This is just for you to leave an impression on what decision tree model is. The key idea of the model is to decide which feature to use and what conditions to use for splitting, along with knowing when to stop based on calculating how much accuracy each split will cost us by cost function and choose the one with least cost. The goal is to minimize the local cost function at each step using greedy algorithm. There are several ways to implement the decision tree model. Here, we are using the card algorithm, which takes Gini index as the cost function. We first compute the Gini index for a data set, and then for each feature, we calculate Gini index for all categorical values. Then we take the average information entropy of the current feature and calculate the Gini gain. After we finish the calculation, we pick the best Gini gain feature, which is the one that minimizes the cost function, and repeat the process until the tree is done. The advantage of this model is that it is easy to understand and visualize, and we can check the feature importance clearly. In our case, visualizing the full tree is quite messy as we have too many features, but we can check the feature importance generated by it. Here is the feature importance of our model. We can check that there is no decisive features in our model. The most important feature has importance less than 10%. In addition, it runs much faster than SVM, so it is computationally efficient.
After we deal with the decision tree model, we decided to try another non-parametric learning model called the random forests, which is the combination of multiple decision trees. A simple random forest can be divided into two steps. The first step, we can use the bootstrap to simulate different trees by using different features in the dataset. And the second step is to bagging these trees together to get the estimations. So for the bootstrap, it is a statistical method to simulate the data from original data samples according to the empirical distribution of original data sets. So for example, here we can simulate 5 decision trees from original trees with different features. From these trees, we can get several functions for predictions in each set. And we can, based on the bootstrap functions, to bagging them together for prediction. So this is very simple random forest model. And for the further study, we can also do the different deep layers of random forests and grow trees to deeper layer, just like the neural networks.
In the last part, we will present the result of the model we use on this dataset. After pre-processing, now we have two different training sets. An oversampling training set of size 98,000, undersampling training set of size 50,000, a validation set of size 60,000, and a test set of size 10,000. As we have two different training sets, we get two models for every algorithm. Therefore, the line above is the accuracy of oversampling training set, and the line below represents the accuracy of the undersampling training set. For support vector machine, we obtain a validation accuracy of 95% for oversampling and 98% for undersampling, a test accuracy of 95% for oversampling and 98% for undersampling. For decision tree, we obtain a validation accuracy of 99% for oversampling and 99% for undersampling, a test accuracy of 98% for oversampling and 99% for undersampling. For random forest, we obtain a validation accuracy of 93% for oversampling and 99% for undersampling, a test accuracy of 94% for oversampling and 98% for undersampling. As the dataset is a binary classification, the accuracy remains on a high level for each method. Therefore, applying the model can tell us whether the failure is caused by APS or not, so the truck can be repaired accordingly. Thank you for watching.